So this morning, I met a woman from South Africa. She was new to the Receive Experience, a call that I host where we connect with Christ in a deep and meaningful way. We have a breakout time, and I got to talk with her about her life, what she's doing. In the conversation, she brought up a question that I get a lot. And the question is this: what do you do when you experience silence from God? When you ask a question and there's just nothing. I think we've all been there, right? You're needing to hear something, anything from God, and yet you're met with silence. My response to her at first was just that sometimes it's not that God isn't speaking, it's just that our questions are being asked from a place of fear or frustration. Like, why is this happening? Why won't you guide me? And those very feelings of fear and doubt can actually drown out his voice. Just the other day, my wife and I, we were talking. It was just after dinner. Our 2-year-old was crying. Our other 2 daughters were talking and yelling. And my oldest daughter wanted to play some music. It was just chaos. My wife was saying, I can't even hear myself think. It was very hard for us to even have a conversation. So this same experience happens with our emotions. All the negative feelings, the doubts, the fears, the worries, they create a storm that drowns out God's whisper. And so I told her, what if instead of demanding an answer and expecting that God should answer me in a certain way, that we ask him what he wants us to know about the silence itself? After asking her a few things and talking about this, I said, what if we just pray right here, right now? You know, a lot of people, when they really struggle to hear God, even the experts out there, even for me, what is helpful is praying with someone else, which is why I created this morning call in the first place. And so I said right then and there, do you want to pray? Because she said, I don't have people around me. I just feel so isolated. So I said, let's pray together then. She said, okay, let's do it. I kind of guided her and invited her to imagine a place of peace. What came to her mind was her laying down on this green grass and a giant tree above her head. She's just in the shade of the tree. She's looking up at the branches and at the endless sky. I then asked her, I said, what would it look like for Christ to show up in this scene? What would it look like for love to appear here? She was kind of silent for a while, and I asked, what's coming up for you? And she's like, I can't really see Christ. And I said, but what's the first thing that showed up? What was the first thing that you sensed? And she said, I just felt a breeze. I said, let that breeze be God. Let it be his presence. Because within her saying, I don't see him, essentially what she was telling me is that I think that there should be Christ appearing to me. That he should appear in his person, and he should lay by me, and this is the way that it should go, versus allowing for this breeze to be the thing. Love can show up in all sorts of ways in our life. In 1 Kings chapter 19, it says the Spirit wasn't in the earthquake, it wasn't in the fire, but it was in the whisper, the gentle blowing like a breeze. So how many times do we miss that gentle breeze because we're waiting for something louder, for something different? Something more dramatic? When we have expectations for how God should show up, we miss the very real and quiet ways that he is already showing. So then I asked her, what does the breeze of love want to say to you? And immediately, without hesitation, she heard and felt, you are safe. So in that moment, she didn't hear a loud voice, she didn't see a vision, but she felt and experienced something real and something gentle. You are safe. And maybe that's all we need sometimes. The reminder that we're held, that even when we can't see or hear the way that we think we should, that God is there. There's just his presence is there. You're just safe. And as we kept praying, I asked the Lord, okay, what words would you use to describe her? And after a moment of silence, I asked, okay, what's the first thing that you sensed? And she didn't respond. She stayed quiet. And sometimes I'm always wondering, okay, is she still receiving something? I don't know. So I spoke again. I said, maybe you didn't receive anything, but what's just coming up for you? And she responded, I don't know if this is me or if this is God, but the first things I heard was gentle and peacemaker. Now, I know many of you listening to this have had this same question. I have had the same question. So I really want you to pay attention here. Immediately, the woman received the words gentle and peacemaker. But then the questioning came. Then all the doubts came. Then all the debating came, which is why she sat in silence for so long and didn't answer my first question. Like, what did your first sense? Like, just name it. What is it? So sometimes we can think, can it really be that easy? And we approach God from a place of doubt. We literally enter into the listening from a place of doubt. And that doesn't create receiving. Just imagine if you and I went to an event to hear a speaker, and I told you before we entered into the room where we're going to hear the speaker that this speaker was a liar, that they're going to share stories that aren't true, and they're going to share research that isn't even backed up. It's not even real. Now, if I told you that going in, you would have these lenses on, you would look at the speaker and everything they say from this lens, it would put a wall between you and the speaker. And essentially, whatever words that they said, even if they were super helpful and even directly inspired and meant for you, you would likely have a wall that would stop you from receiving it. That's what doubt's like. That's what it's like to enter into this place of listening from doubt. Now before, I know some of you will do this, so I want to highlight it here. Some of you may find yourself still approaching God from a place of doubt. You'll hear what I say, you'll go and apply yourself and say, okay, I'm going to believe. And then doubt comes back in. And then you'll beat yourself up for having the doubt. You'll say, oh, I shouldn't doubt. Like Tyson told me not to doubt. Oh, if I doubt, then I'm blocking, I'm creating a wall. And so the key here is for you to just be. It's for you to just walk into the experience without an expectation of how any of this should play out. That you don't think, oh, when I envision or imagine or visualize being with Christ, that Christ should appear as the person. Or that when I hear Christ, it should be a quiet or pierce my heart or be this warm blanket that people describe. Or that when I pray, I should be still. Some of these elements may be helpful, but some of them may actually get in your way. That they just create all these rules around prayer, and then our brains go to work trying to analyze our present experience to see if it matches up with what we've been taught. So in the case of this woman, she was analyzing whether or not her insights were fitting into the mold of what she thought revelation should look like. And when they didn't fit, she questioned what she experienced, and it muffled the voice of God. So instead of going into prayer with the question, is this just my imagination? Am I really hearing him? I just invite you to go into prayer believing that God wants to speak to you and that you were made to hear his voice. I just invite you to let yourself believe, to suspend any disbelief for just a moment. Let Christ appear and show up for you in any way. Let Christ even take away the doubts and the worries. Just allow him to take it. Just say, Lord, can you just take away any doubts that I have of being able to hear your voice? Give me a place and a space in which I can hear and just be with you, just experience you. I don't even need to hear anything. What if I could just experience you? And in large part, that's what it sounded like and what the experience was like for this woman. Because when I asked the question, what do you want her to know about the direction she's seeking? The response was, I just want you to be present in this moment and not worry about the future. So the messages that she received were perfect for her. It was, you're safe. Just be present here. No need to worry about the future. I've got you. And by the way, you're gentle and you're a peacemaker. That's what she received. When I was able to help her kind of let go of all these expectations, just lead her, guide her into this experience. So if this is something that is a struggle for you, if this is something that you want to have an experience where you receive something that can just nourish your heart, nourish your soul, help you to move forward in your life, or dissolve the fears that are stopping you from progressing in the ways you want to progress, then my invitation is to come to the Receive experience. This is the call. I host it every single day. Now, for some of you, unfortunately, the timing might not be right, or it might not be the best place. But I just want to challenge you on that, because sometimes when you really want something, let's say that there was a college course and the time of the class, it's the only class that teaches this. And the time of that class is 5 a.m. or it's at 2 p.m. or it's right usually when you get up to go and commute to your job. That if you were to take that class and sign up for it, you'd make room for it. You'd just go because it's a requirement to go to get the credit or whatever. So if you can come, you can learn all about when this is, what time it's at, and all the details by going to inherentidentity.com. And I'll put the link in the description. But the thing is, if you set a time to meet with God, it's going to be a much more powerful experience. And what I try and do in this experience, and it's only getting better, is that I try and make it something that you will receive something. And if you don't, then we have a breakout room, and I like to meet with the new people. So you can meet with me, and I can help you. I can pray with you, because that's really helpful to pray with someone, especially someone who has experience and someone who can lead you. I know all the challenges. I've been through the challenges. I can help you in receiving what you're looking for, and the insight and the ideas and whatever it is that you're seeking. I can help you. So go ahead, go to the description down below and click on the link there, and hopefully I'll see you on the call. If not, just take this information and use it, apply it, recognize the doubts, recognize where you're all clobbered up with emotions. And in any case, I'll let you go. Have a wonderful and beautiful day. Until next time, God bless you, and we'll talk to you later.